Hi everyone. In this video, I'm just going to briefly go over the expectations we have for you as students on our program. I'm going to start by introducing the codes of student conduct to which you will be held accountable. Then I'm going to go a little more in depth into participation and what that means on our program. I think that is the most important part of the program. So I really want to give you a good overview of what we're expecting in terms of participation. I'm going to talk a little bit about communication from us to you, but also from you to us, because it's absolutely key for the success of an online program. And then I'm going to give you just a brief introduction to some resources we have for you to ensure that you are successful during the program. So first things first, let's start with the codes of student conduct. Because we are a program that is created between institutions and between schools, there are a lot of overlapping codes, both academic and behavioral, to which you'll be held accountable. And I have links to all of them here where you can read them more in depth. But in general, I want you to just think about basic principles that if you follow these and you prioritize these ideas, you're not going to run into any problems on our program. And that is integrity. So be honest and open and submit your own work, right? Be mature and responsible in the way you approach class. That means get your work done on time. Be prepared. Take responsibility for your mistakes, and take responsibility for what is expected of you, right? And then be respectful. Be respectful to your instructors, be respectful to staff, and be respectful to your classmates. We're trying to create a community, and you see that there on the bottom. This is fundamental to the learning process, and the only way we can do that is by treating each other with respect and generosity. We're all coming to this program in a difficult situation, right? The pandemic is starting to lift, but it's been a stressful year and a half, and we're learning online, which is very difficult in many ways. So be generous with each other, take this into account, and really try to always treat each other as a community. Try to build this community together, right? Um, this is this is fundamental for enabling full participation, which is what we prioritize. We want you to get as many hours as possible of interactions with your instructors and with your colleagues in the target language. So participation is a huge priority on the program. So what does that mean for us? Participation means, first of all, to log in to your classes and any other required activity ready to go. We want you to enable your video so that you are physically present in the activity. We understand there may be some accessibility issues with that. So if you think you're going to have trouble enabling your video for any reason, please reach out to me and we can make some accommodations. So when you log in, you should log in on time and prepared and stay for the entire class. So tardiness and early departures, I'll discuss in the attendance policy, will affect your grade. And as will showing up without having done the readings and asynchronous activities or homework that is assigned before the class. This is an intensive program. So in addition to all of these synchronous hours of learning that you will also have readings and homework to do outside of class. And you must do these in order to participate fully in the discussions that will happen during class. We want you to do that. We want you to be engaged in what's happening in the classroom, interacting with your peers, during the entire time. So if you need to bring a coffee to stay awake and alert, do that, right? Because we're looking for you to contribute actively to the discussions that are happening in the class. If for some reason you aren't able to be there, if something comes up, an illness, a family emergency, communicate that promptly with your instructor and with us, right? Like I'm going to talk about later, communication is key. So you need to, if you have any issues, you need to tell us about that immediately so that we can start working with you to create a plan that works for you. In the same vein, check your emails regularly because we're going to be communicating with you and you will be held responsible for any information that goes out in a message um, outside of class time, right? Finally, each of our instructors likes to conduct their course a little bit differently. So look at your class syllabi and look for any other expectations that your individual instructor has of you, because you should comply with those as well. As I've said, we want everyone to engage in the synchronous Zoom courses with their camera on and be cognizant of Zoom etiquette as they are doing so. So this just kind of is a basic outline of Zoom etiquette. If you want more detail on the kind of equipment that will enable you to participate most fully, you can find that on the technology guide, which is a document that I wrote and is also posted to either the program website or the CET Center or both. So take a look at that to out to see what kind of technology or equipment you should buy to participate most fully through Zoom. But regardless of equipment, here are the guidelines of etiquette that you should follow as you're in class. You should turn on your camera, as I talked about. If you can't, get in touch with me, we'll figure something out. You should be appropriately dressed and upright. Pretend you are going to a real class. Now that doesn't, you can wear pajamas on the bottom, but be thinking about looking professional, at least from the waist up, right? You want to reduce your background distractions. So a lot of you are in your family home or with roommates. Try to get to a place where they aren't walking behind you every time. We understand pets will show up, and that always makes the class fun, but try to minimize those interruptions. Part of that is muting yourself when you're not speaking so we don't have to listen to whatever is going on around you, and using headphones so that if you do decide to speak, we don't have to listen to the construction, going on across the street. I live in New Orleans. There's always construction going on. So I like to make sure that my headphones are in so that my colleagues don't have to listen to that. And then finally, reduce your distractions on your screen. Close out any window that doesn't directly pertain to class. You might want to have a dictionary up or your notes up, but don't have your email up or your Instagram up or whatever it is. Just try to really keep yourself focused on what's happening in the class. Like I said, we have had some issues with attendance last year, so we've instituted a new attendance policy this year. This pertains to all of your synchronous Zoom classes. So the way we've set up the schedule is, in general, the classes are broken up into morning blocks and afternoon blocks, each of between 2 to 3.5 hours, 2 to 4 hours, right? You are permitted to miss a total of 3 blocks without any sort of penalty. After 3 blocks, 1% will be deducted from the student's final grade. Note that a block is morning or afternoon, but if you miss more than 30 minutes, if you're tardy for more than 30 minutes, or if you leave more than 30 minutes early, or if you miss 30 minutes in the middle, we are going to count that as an entire block because we want you there and we want you engaged. Even if you have these excused absences, right? Please contact your instructor prior to your absence because you will be held responsible for any assignments and materials that were due that day. So just because you weren't there doesn't mean you don't have to turn in the homework that was due whenever you missed class, right? We understand, I understand things happen, right? If something severe comes up, if you start experiencing severe health issues, or if there's a family emergency or extenuating circumstance that's going to make you miss more than these 3 blocks, please come to me because we have to make arrangements early. We'll have to figure something out. In order to comply with your FLOSS grants that many of you have, you are required to have a certain number of contact hours. And that's why we're so strict on the attendance this year. So if you're not able to make those contact hours, even for something like a family emergency, we need to make an arrangement to make sure that you are still complying with your FLAS requirements. Right? Communication is absolutely key to making this whole thing work. This is why I'm saying if you're going to be absent, let us know. Communication, 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 communication. So you should be checking your email every day during the week, 2 to 3 times, because something may happen between morning and afternoon that'll change the schedule for the afternoon, right? Or change the focus or meeting location link, right? So be checking your email very regularly. If you're a non-Tulane student and don't check your Tulane email, you can set up your Canvas notifications to go to your personal email. And I show you how to do that on the video that I made about technology. So I encourage you to do that. And I encourage you to, if you can, forward your Tulane emails onto your personal email so that you don't miss anything important, because you will be held accountable for any information that goes out via email or Canvas notification or Canvas message from either me or Sulia or your instructor, right? We also want you to communicate with us, right? And it can be confusing because there are a lot of us. it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So a lot of us are involved in the program. So it can be a little confusing about who to contact in any situation. If you're in doubt, just contact me and I can direct you to the right person, right? Sclassum at tulane.edu, or I can also you can find my phone number on the website if you need to give me a call. If you are in the Summer in Brazil program, you can do the same with Sulia Foley, who's the CET resident director. She really likes to be in the know, right, on everything that's happening because she does handle so much of what's happening in Brazil. So try to CC her on any correspondence. However, it's pretty easy to figure out who you need to contact in any situation. If it's an administrative issue, if you have a question about billing, or if you have a question about registration, contact me because I'm the one that handled that, including if you have a contact about, or excuse me, if you have an issue with logging into Canvas or something like that, contact me. If you have an academic question, if you are not sure about a homework assignment, or if you have a question of clarification on a test or something like that, you can contact your instructor directly. For an absence, because we are dealing with the attendance policy this year, you should contact both your instructor, the whatever class you're going to miss, but also CC me. And if you're in the Summer in Brazil program, CC Sulia, so that we're aware of that because we're the ones keeping track of everybody's absences. I know this sounds like a lot of expectations, but we're putting them in place because we want you to be successful, right? We want rules create an environment in which we can all be successful. We also want to give you some resources. I'm outlining just a few here, but we have many more. So if you have a particular need, come to me and I can help you find the resources that you need to meet that need. So I've given you some here. The library has great resources as you're doing your studying and looking to create those final projects that you're going to have to do. All of you as Tulane students have access to all of our holdings, and I encourage you to use them. On a more mundane level, the Learn Anywhere Toolkit has some really great resources for navigating the technology in the classroom. That Tulane put it together when we moved to online learning, but it also has some really great toolkits for understanding your learning style and adapting it to the virtual setting. So I encourage you all to check it out. Finally, if you have accommodations in your own home institution and you would like to get accommodations set up here at Tulane, we can do that. You need to do it through the Goldman Center for Student Accessibility. So I encourage you to get in touch with them directly. They have that information on their website. And if you want your application to move a little more quickly, you can CC me and I can get in touch with my contact there and push things along for you. Finally, if everybody follows the basic principles that I outlined at the beginning of this video, we should not have to interact with the Title IX office at all because there should not be any harassment. But if you feel that there is, you feel that you are in a hostile environment for any reason, suffering any sort of harassment, you can go to the Title IX office website and submit a report and they will investigate for you. So these are just some of the resources we have available. Like I said, you can get in touch with me for more resources because we really do want to give you every opportunity to be successful in this program.